And that turned out to be quite a postseason run. Take us back and walk us through what happened at the end of that year.
Well, the years leading up to high school for me had not always been great football-wise, but something about that year was just, I'd like to say magical, but I feel much more like it was God-led. It was just insane. There were games where players were missing because they'd been suspended, and the opposing team, like their key players had been missing, and certain things that just happened that made the odds of us winning go up slightly, and all those little things that happened led to us winning the state championship, and I can't imagine that that's anything but God.
When you walk us back to the last game, the last minutes of the last game, the gun goes off, you are a state champion. What does that feel like?
There's nothing like that. It's the whole game, most of the game we'd been down, and then the last little bit of the game we came back to win it, and just running on the field with all of my teammates who we played all year together, practiced hard. I was just a freshman, so I didn't know many of the seniors that well, but there were a couple other freshmen that had been called up, and it was just, there's no way to describe it. It's just pure happiness.
When you remember yourself as a freshman and you look at who you are now and where you are now, how far have you come?
Oh, I think I've come a long ways. As a freshman, it was more about myself and what I could do to make myself stand out. And as a senior, I try and look down on the freshmen and help them learn, see what they can, look at their skills, try and help them boost their skills, help them become better players, And in years past, when I was a freshman, sophomore, a lot of the seniors and the juniors, and they weren't very nice. It was kind of, there was a little bit of contention going on, which makes sense, but this year I heard a lot of the freshmen and sophomores say to me that they were very appreciative of how we treated them and that it was unlike past years, and that was just very nice to hear.
You may have started something new there. Your coach, Jerry Harris, remembers when you were called up to the varsity as a freshman defensive lineman. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a defensive lineman. You know what I'm saying? The offensive lineman, the upperclassmen on the offensive line, couldn't block you. And you're a freshman. What did that mean to you to have a chance to go against the upperclassmen? And it sounds like to get the better of them on most occasions.
Well, as we've been practicing, there was one specific practice that I remember very well, I'll never forget. We just been doing scout, I was on scout, and the offense had been running plays. I kept doing my little spin move. I'd get past the offensive tackle, do the spin move, and the offensive coach was not happy with this at all, and it was kind of fun for me because the coach would get mad, and I did my job, and very fun. During the practice, the coach kept getting angrier and angrier, and at one point, he stopped the practice, and he had us go one-on-one, head-on-head, until the senior could put me on my butt, and it took him 6 or 7 tries.
I like that a lot. You played against another one of our honorees here today, Caden Wexler from Sabino. You were injured in that game, but you persevered, you hung in there, and you kept playing. And after the game, you were in the Sabino training room, I guess getting some treatment, and Caden walked in. You remember what he told you and how that conversation went?
I don't exactly remember the conversation too well, but I know that Caden has always been a very nice person, especially even during the games, it'd be a hit and a hit, and there were some games I played where people weren't very nice, but Caden was always a very nice person. He always treated you with respect, he put you on your butt, but then he'd give you a hand up after the play. Very nice guy.
Rumor has it that the conversation went something like this. This guy, defensive lineman, is in the training room. Caden walks in and says, "I'm sure glad I don't have to play against you any longer because you're the toughest SOB I've ever faced." That's what rumor has the story. Now, whether we can confirm or deny, I don't know. Maybe he's too humble to mention that. What have you gotten out of the game of football that's going to stick with you now after you graduate?
The biggest thing I've learned is respect. Respect for the people who are in charge and trying to do everything you can to make them proud. And my dad's a coach, and there's nothing I love more than looking on the sideline and seeing his face after I make a play.
You have that unique experience of being the son of a coach, and your dad is one of your coaches. What's that dynamic like during practice, during a game, and then when the game's over and you hop in the rig and go home together?
Well, our school is very particular about which coaches can coach their sons. So my dad never got to coach me directly because they don't want like, just because I'm his son, I get put in more. But during the games, I'd see him on the sideline. It was always, it helped me grow this bond with him that I just can't explain. I'd see him after the game, he'd tell me all the plays, he noticed every little thing, lots of stuff I never noticed. He'd notice the little tiny details, and that always made me very happy to see that he noticed everything.
You, besides being a defensive lineman, this is kind of an interesting combination. You're involved in a lot of theater productions with Pusch Ridge and other community theaters. Peter Pan, Beauty and the Beast, Seussical, and the high school musical. Now, you're a menacing defensive tackle. Somehow the idea of being in these musical productions, that's almost a disconnect. What is it about musical theater that you enjoy?
There's something about it where you can just be, you get to be this character, you get to be someone else for a short period of time, and you get to portray the person how you think the writer would want them to be portrayed. And just getting to go into this other world, it's almost like playing a video game or watching a TV show. You know, you get to be in this other place that you couldn't be.
You'd be a great college mascot behind the head of the costume. I think you played Lumiere in Beauty and the Beast, right? What's the favorite Lumiere line from that play? In the French accent, please.
It's been a long time since I
Put him on the spot. Tell us about your college and career plan.
I plan on going to the U of A and studying electrical engineering.
You're going to do really well, Casey. Thanks so much, and congratulations on your career. Casey Webb.